The restaurant was almost empty when Ava checked her phone for the 5th time. The flickering candle on her table mocked her patience. She smiled politely as the waiter refilled her glass of water, trying to hide the sting of disappointment behind her perfectly rehearsed calm. It was supposed to be her first date in 3 years, her first attempt at opening up after a long, painful breakup. But as the minutes ticked past, the seat across from her stayed empty. Her heart sank with every passing moment. The murmurs of other couples, the soft music, the laughter, all of it only made her feel more alone. Ava had promised herself she wouldn't cry, not in public, not again. But as she looked around the room one last time, she realized she had been stood up. The humiliation burned in her chest like fire. She stood, grabbed her purse, and turned to leave. Then a voice stopped her. "Sorry. I was watching you from the door." Ava froze. She turned slowly, and there he was, a tall man, slightly out of breath, with eyes that carried both nervousness and sincerity. He wore a plain white shirt, sleeves rolled up, as if he'd run straight from somewhere important. "I didn't mean to make you wait," he said, rubbing the back of his neck. "I just wanted to see if you'd actually come." She blinked, unsure how to react. "You were watching me?" He nodded, embarrassed. "Yeah. I didn't believe this would actually happen. I thought maybe you'd cancel when you saw my name." "Why would I do that?" Ava asked quietly. He gave a small laugh, one that sounded more like pain than humor. "Because I'm not the kind of guy people wait for." Something in his tone made her sit back down. His voice wasn't arrogant, it was broken. She could tell there was more to the story. He sat across from her, eyes avoiding hers. "My name's Ethan," he said finally. "I almost didn't come tonight." Ava folded her hands on the table. "Why?" "Because I don't think I'm ready," he admitted. "I lost someone 2 years ago. My fiancée. She died in a car accident on our wedding day." Her breath caught. Suddenly, the pieces made sense, the hesitation, the fear, the watching from the door. This wasn't a man who'd stood her up for fun. This was someone fighting against ghosts. Ava softened. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." He nodded. "Most people don't. My friend signed me up for this blind date, said I needed to move on. But when I saw you sitting here, smiling through disappointment, it hit me, maybe I'm not the only one trying to start again." That broke something open in her. Ava had her own ghosts too. Her fiancé had walked out the night before their wedding, leaving nothing but a note that said, "I can't love you the way you deserve." She'd spent years rebuilding her confidence, believing maybe love just wasn't meant for her. They talked. Slowly, awkwardly at first, but then freely. About pain, about second chances, about how cruel and beautiful life could be at the same time. The waiter returned W. The rain fell hard against the restaurant window, blurring the city lights outside. Inside, a single table stood out, a woman sat alone, staring at the flickering candle before her. Her name was Lily. She checked her phone for what felt like the 100th time, reading the message again, "Can't wait to meet you tonight." It had been an hour. No one had come. The waiter had stopped asking if she wanted to order. The once warm excitement that fluttered in her heart had turned into a heavy ache. She felt people glancing at her, whispering, the kind of silent sympathy that only made loneliness sting harder. She tried to smile at herself in the reflection of her wine glass. "Maybe he got stuck in traffic," she murmured, pretending it was true. But in her heart, she knew. She had been stood up. Again. Lily gathered her things slowly, trying not to look as devastated as she felt. The restaurant door chimed as someone entered, but she didn't bother to turn. She wrapped her scarf, preparing to leave. Then, a voice stopped her. "Sorry. I was watching you from the door." Her body froze. Slowly, she turned around. A man stood there, drenched from the rain, his hair plastered to his forehead. His shirt clung to him, and his eyes carried a mix of guilt and nervous hope. I didn't mean to scare you," he said quickly. "I just needed a moment before coming in." She blinked, confused. "You were watching me?" He nodded, stepping closer. "I was. I saw you waiting, and I didn't know if I deserved to sit there with you." "Deserved," she repeated, her voice softer now. He sighed. My name's Aaron. I'm supposed to be your blind date. But before you get angry, please let me explain. Something in his tone, sincere, almost broken, made her pause. Against her better judgment, she sat back down. He joined her, still dripping water onto the floor. I wasn't sure I could do this, he admitted. It's been 2 years since I lost my wife. My sister signed me up for this date without telling me. I almost didn't come. Then I saw you sitting here, waiting with that nervous smile, and I realized I wasn't ready. I thought you'd be disappointed. Lily's expression softened. I thought you just didn't show up, she said quietly. I guess we both made assumptions. Aaron gave a small, sad smile. Seems that way. The waiter returned, and after a brief pause, they both decided to stay. Dinner was awkward at first, every word careful, every glance unsure. But slowly, something shifted. Lily found herself laughing at Aaron's self-deprecating humor, and he listened intently when she spoke about her job as a school counselor. As the evening stretched on, layers of pain began to peel away. Aaron told her how his wife, Emma, had been his college sweetheart. They were married for only 6 months before a drunk driver took her away. He blamed himself ever since, convinced that happiness wasn't meant for him anymore. Lily, in turn, shared her own story, how she had been engaged.